I was thinking about something that I thought I'd just drop real fast about like the root and this woman Danielle, and I was watching this thing where she was talking. The yeah, this demented people think they can't be wrong. It's very normal in liberal culture to simply have no capacity to doubt, like that your club is the elite club of people who know what they're talking about. It's just the way. It's just the fundamental aspect of it. Somebody brought up like today. I was talking about Arceon. You came up because I was thinking about music. I was thinking about bands and bands I think you should look into, such as the Pie Tasters and Agrolites. I just look into them. Look into them. The Agrolites' first self-titled album is particularly good because it was they walked in the studio, dropped the album, walked out. That's the story I heard from somebody who knows them. So and this is literally an album that people put up there with the Upsetter. So this is literally almost definitive of a genre. It's equal to an album that almost defined reggae as a genre, time-wise and elements-wise. Also, don't put aside that tradition of ska and reggae. If you want to know who brought people to the church, brought them from LSD to the church, you got to know more about the ska and reggae scene. And that's when you start finding out about the mods and the skinheads, and you'll understand what I was talking about when in our discussion. Metalheads were a different thing. The metalheads. This is why I told you, look up mods versus rockers. Metal comes out of the rockers tradition, and that's all like Rolling Stones, the Kinks, all that stuff. The mods are a different sound. They were white people doing R&B and doing like also just a different sound. So by decades later, some of these people are still around, like Tom Jones or Sting or Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart was a white Sam Cooke act. Just so you could get the idea. So back to that's it's actually really good to bring something like that up, because people who would be at like something like the Root or Danielle would not understand. White acts covered black music because white people like black music, and they don't consider themselves sort of a different people because we're all in the same country. And the reason they think this way is because not all white people are the same. They know they came from different countries of origin, and that people actually seem to even act a certain way in the Mediterranean nations that is different than the Scandinavian nations. They do. The voting patterns can be tracked for generations. And so it's not, so we know, scientifically speaking, it is not culture. The 5 laws of behavioral genetics. You inherit your personality. This is the problem, the root. Genetic science, proven laws of science that you just don't know because you're not that fucking bright. That's it. If you were really bright and really interested in stuff, you would be interested in things that bright people are interested in. But you're not. You're arguing all these things about how hard it is to be black all the time. On the internet, created by white people, on devices built by the Chinese. It's just simply, you don't have some argument of how somebody's committing pogrom against you. Most of you don't even know what the word pogrom is. Liberal black complainers are a type. Black people who just do and are like, life's hard. And they go by, they drive past trailer parks and like, damn, those people are poor as fuck. Like, I'm glad I got a job and I'm not, you know, God be praised. I'm not in that bet, in that boat. Not among that lot. All that matters, and really, 5 laws of behavioral genetics. All matters. 70% out of wedlock births. No, probably not even 10% of those offspring. So now we have 60% of black youth over the last, now we're looking at about, born over the last 20 years. We can now say this pretty solidly. Were raised without a father. So like one man who is the consistent disciplinarian and provider for the family. Because that's what's up. That's what's up. Evolutionarily, everybody who understands the evolutionary genetics and all the stuff, that's what's up. They give provision and they give a model for disciplined patterns and systems. There's a system. There's a system of reward, a system of reward and punishment, a system of distribution of goods. You know, dinner is at this time. You know, you have this much control over yourself. I, being your sire, or at least the man who's raising you, have this much control over you. And that it's understood until you are at an age of responsibility that you can couple it with enough knowledge, that you had enough experience that people aren't holding you responsible for things you can't understand. You know, he is your sire. He is the father. You know, he's the one who's running things. Now it's this thing of, it's just not a debate. You don't listen to your mama. After a certain size, after a certain age, you just run game on your mom. And people, oh, my mama, she hit me with a belt, she hit me with a shoe, she hits me with a brick, she hit me with a... And it's like, yeah, your mother had to beat you up all the time to have you behave poorly. This is the story of a generation. And and now we have people who literally, like, they'll light candles, they'll have a shirt with Tupac, they'll have a fucking shrine, and they'll have raps about Tupac and Tupac and Tupac just like Pac. You know, it's just this demented. So, and there's science here. Those of us who understand, psychopaths, and what psychopaths like to hear. What do psychopaths do when they are responsible for what has gotten them into a shitty situation? Are we seeing multi-generational psychopathic denial of personal responsibility? See, those of us who understand how this works, it might even be like somebody like me who is misguided in knowing this and applying it. And God was looking out for me by not letting me get into certain situations where I would have had power. It's good to be powerless and to know stuff like the bell curve. This is a summary of data. It's not a book of opinion. It's not a book of suggestions. It's a summary of data. It's the end of the book. I've read it on my channel. The ramifications. 70% out of wedlock, at least 60% going all the way up to adulthood without any father figure. That fucks up your head. We know this. We know it fucks up your head. This would then explain why people who they see this guy all the time, they've seen him around, they knew him in high school, and I don't know, sometime around the age of 22, just had to shoot him. Just had to. I just can't put the, like Ice Cube said, you know, I just can't put the fucking gun away. I just can't do it. I just gotta fucking make sure motherfuckers know. I will just shoot them in the fucking face, because, you know, I keeps it real. You're not getting it. There's millions of people now who understand. No. You apply what we understand from science. Look at what these people do and at the ratios they do it compared to all other groups in the world. Look at the gene structure. Okay, you better all start listening real close now. The Human Genome Program. Do you think the Chinese aren't trying to figure out why black people do that? Do you think the Arabs, they're on your side, right? Those rich Arabs, they aren't interested in genes, right? I mean, because it's not like the rich Arabs understand the problem of consanguinity. Look that word up. And then look up worldwide consanguinity maps. We don't even really test for that well enough here. Tommy Sotomayor has mentioned this. I think there's a lot more to it than Tommy is. I think there's a lot. I don't think people really want to take seriously consanguinity in extremely specific, rather tiny minorities. The ramifications of you not taking seriously Black America's motherfucking problems that are obvious as fuck to everybody else, and that as soon as they, you guys kind of shoot each other a lot, and then all of a sudden there's this woman who's the size of a fucking refrigerator coming out with like half a dozen just unbelievably short bus stupid level videos about the problems with white people. You all aren't getting it. All they need to do is just walk backwards like this and leave you in the dark. That's it. They could just leave you in darkness. They could leave you to the Chinese. That's about to happen. That whole continent's going to just left to the Chinese and the Muslims. Oh, you all are going to beg. You will beg. Please step in. Look at what these people are doing. Look at, we have appealed to the Chinese Communist government, but oh my gosh. They're so mean. They be so racist. Don't worry, it's coming. Because the Chinese, they're a totalitarian dictatorship. With a kind of wrapped in capitalism. It's an iron rod wrapped in cotton. For those of you who've taken Chinese martial arts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You won't feel it until it absolutely impacts, and they'll just break anybody who has a problem. They just will. They'll be like, what are you talking about? They're fucking with us. Who do you think we are? Who are you addressing? We are the People's Republic of China. Fuck them. We paid them good money, and now they're fucking with us. See, the United States is the one who's like, what would Jesus do? You see? That's the problem that you have. That's the problem that you're facing in the future. You're facing this idea that there's going to be some amazing socialist paradise. But it's like, no. At some point, there's going to be a villain. And that villain is going to want production. They're going to be a totalitarian socialist. And then at some point, they're going to run into Danielle. And Danielle's going to be telling them this and telling them that. And then you're done. A lot of you don't read enough sci-fi, and I think some of you should read the series Chung Kuo. Chungkuo. It means Zhongguo, Middle Kingdom, center of the earth. That's the actual name of China. It's about what would happen if China became the real preeminent power in the near future sci-fi world. 2177. China now controls the whole planet. The whole world is a Chinese world. What is this world like? What is the sci-fi nightmare but you have to take Confucian, Taoist, and Buddhist Chinese ideas and wrap them around total control of the human race. What would it look like? It would look like a future where there's just no black people. That's one of the foundational setting points. Dictator of China just loathed black people. and so he just annihilated all of them, planet-wide. So it's just to read a whole series where it's like there's like literally like one tribe of Africans left on a space station somewhere that had gotten forgot about or something, when the total dictatorship started, of the sci-fi dictatorship, and so like some Japanese are left too, just to really fathom like what that's like holy crap, and that people didn't know. They would see photos that were illegal photos, and they're like, who the fuck is this? And I'm like, what is that? Because they had never seen a person that dark. They just simply didn't exist. Anyone who stood against China was annihilated. And so all the Europeans just went along with it. They were the UN. It was the UN. The UN and China merged. And Russia gave in. Eventually Russia just got knocked over too quickly. But the southern hemisphere, those parts of the world, they wouldn't go quietly. So they were sunsetted. So you should think about this. Black Americans are what, about 15, 17% at most, I think, 14% of the population, with now a generation that simply does not have what happens to your brain when you have a dad in the house. What good stuff happens to the inside of your brain when you have a daddy. When you have a daddy, your brain works a certain way, and it tends to mean that you will live longer and you will have better outcomes. 60% of a generation now don't have that. Hopefully they've developed something in lieu of that. HIV, the murder rate. If you were to actually make a pie chart and talk about like what races murder what races, there would be this extremely difficult to understand slice that is white people killing blacks. It's a tiny little slice. So this is what makes Danielle look like not just totally disingenuous, and makes, of course, then it obvious that there's something about that argument all the time that is just this bizarre, demented lie, or kind of like some convoluted folk tale that crazy black racists tell each other in astonishingly large numbers, such that something like The Root would distribute such fucking crapola. You can almost barely even, if there was a pie chart that was to talk about rape, again, this would be a slice. You would see just a line of color that is white on black rape. In cities where there's 30, 25% black people, there's like 6 major cities, if I remember. You know, these are big murder, lots of black people killing black people. They keep finding all these rape kits that have gone untested. Why? Will that send a whole lot of black people to jail? Do you know that there are black advocates who've complained about that, the whole genetic thing of, you know, you see who this rapist was, oh, you're already in lockup. Well, we now know you would rape this woman too, because we went over the evidence, finally tested this rape kit. There's that the black community and liberals are trying to figure out who to side with: rape victims or black psychopaths. That's all they got to do. That's all they have to do. It's just this matter of everybody's got this real stupid thing happening with them. They think the lights won't go out. You weren't in an earthquake. I was in the big earthquakes. I've seen what happens when the lights go out. It's actually real fascinating. People fall in line. People fall in line. People start getting along amazingly well. They start looking out for each other. So there's other neighborhoods, the lights don't have to go out, and everybody goes crazy, burns down the local gas station, burns down the weave store. So people better start understanding some stuff now. Life is hard. The future is not certain. This idea, ha ha ha, white people, you dying at these great numbers. Black people, murder and HIV. Let's see how that works. Let's see how prison reform works. Let's see what comes of that. Stand your ground isn't disappearing. Gun control isn't working at all, is it now? All this gun control, that. No, no, no. None of that's going anyplace. You all are pretending things. It's like dementia. And you need to start dealing with the cold, hard scientific reality, because the right wing knows. They know it all. They're collecting this information. There's whole channels that you have to be ready as dry bread. You're just sitting there like, with it's just numbers and the stats, and this is the ramifications of this. And if the lights go out, this is going to mean something. This is going to be Venezuela. Atlanta is going to turn into Venezuela after 2 days of the lights out. And the white people will leave. I hope Jesse Lee Hampton leaves too, because god damn it, it's going to be, you better be ready. Get the fuck out of here. Jesse Lee, get out of there. The lights go out. Get the hell out of there. Grab your mama, get the hell out of there. Whatever you do. So yeah, it's this isn't funny. This is not fun and games. You're setting yourself up for a failure that's so immense. It will truly be that which will cause. It will be like that biblical gnashing of teeth, pulling out of the hair kind of defeat. 70% out of wedlock. We've never seen this before. We've never seen this happen to a population before, with the capacity to get married, with multi-generational wealth only a generation before. People have cars. They keep having cars. Shoes, multiple $100 shoes and shit. Still won't get married. It's going to be disaster. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm calling disaster. I'm thinking by 2040s, get 13%, 14%. I think by like the 2050s, 2060s, you will definitely see that there are fewer black people by percentage. They will be a smaller and smaller and smaller group. I think it'll be by like 2100, it's going to be like 10, 12% of the population at most. And yeah, it's just, that's how, yeah. You guys should concentrate on real problems. I didn't get married, I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about all that shit. But there's people who, if you want families, you want to have a big Thanksgiving, dinner. I understand that. You want big Christmases. That's understandable. You should have that. So concentrate on you and your kith and kin being safe, having multi-generational wealth, and stop complaining about white people. Because that's what they're concentrating on. They do not think about Tariq Nasheed and what he's doing with his gators that day. They do not care about you, Danielle. They can't. They don't know you. Every once in a while, there's just this gigantic, disgusting black woman saying ridiculously stupid shit. There's just some pimping gators, getting owned by Jared Taylor. They don't know you. You are thinking about them because of the dementia. 70%. And on Tinder's trying to figure out what do we do? We're so racist. No. It's left swipe, right swipe. That's all they got to do.